Hey, Cody, Dr.
Wendee,
Cody.
we are live. We are live.
Another day with Dr. Cody. It's never a bad day, guys. Do you guys know who you're here with? He's somebody who did transformation, Mr. Transformation, right? So a lot of you guys have watched my journey. Cody's big on reviewing daily, actually, what your progress is when you have a goal, and he helps people uh, re, basically reset their hormones and reset their metabolism, helps them reduce weight, reduce fat. Right, that would be the first thing.
Yep.
And in that, we can track our progress because it's measurable through there. And so we're going to review my progress because my 40 days is up, guys. I went by fast.
I
So,
agree.
do you want me to share with them, or
Yeah.
do you?
So let's look at first of all. So yeah, like what? How much fat have you lost? And you made that was good. You made the distinction. How much fat have you lost? And what's your total inches lost? I want to know that.
Okay, my inches is like 15 and a half inches. I know visceral fat is about a half a pound of visceral fat,
Wow.
17 pounds. And then I believe I've reduced my body fat by 4.4% or yeah, somewhere around there. This is off memory. I know that one's off memory. I think that's right. Maybe
Yeah.
it's a little
So
bit more.
you said 15 inches, right?
Yeah, I think a little bit more, like 15 and a half, but yeah, we'll say
15 and a
15.
half inches. That is so powerful. So this is to understand this is 40 days for people listening. And that much fat is incredible. Now, you mentioned the visceral fat. Did you go down 1.5 points in visceral fat points?
It would be point 0.5 is how it was from day one. So is that, I don't know how you'd count that.
How much did it change? 0.5?
Point 0.5.
Yeah. So just understand that visceral, that's not pounds. So
Okay, so
visceral
I'm
fat,
totally wrong. Thank you for
yeah,
reviewing this with me.
no, it's fine. Yeah, that's why I'm doing that. Visceral fat is the amount of fat on the internal organs, and it's measured in like points. And so, like when you get to, do you know what number it was? Do you remember the number it actually was?
All I
It's
know,
okay.
it's at like a, no, I know it's at like a, and I hope it's not bad, but it's like at a 2.4.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, between 1 and 5 is considered like a 1, 4, 5 is a healthy range. When somebody gets over a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that's when they're at major risk of heart attacks and strokes. So
Wow.
it's an actual sort of relative number, not related to pounds. And it's important because if you have basically, if you go from a 6 to a 5,
Mm-hmm.
you've just that's what lengthens your life. So they've seen for every pound, not pound, but for every one note of delineation of numbers, you'll gain
Right.
10 years of your life back. So that's why someone's body age drops when they not just drop fat, but you do something that drops your visceral fat. So that is a big sign. Congratulations.
No, thank you. It's a lot to celebrate on, and I know that obviously taking time to review, whether you review weekly your progress. I really, within Goals to Life on standard goals, we want you to assess weekly. Like, are you actually getting the results that you're desiring through the actions and the time and the effort and the things that you're doing? That's the big thing, because you don't want to be doing things over and over and over again that are not bringing the results. And that's what Cody teaches you daily. This is something where there's daily accountability, but on the regular, on a standard note, we really do want to make sure you're logging your progress, reviewing your progress, and making sure that what you're doing is working well. Because if not, you need to either get trained or you're doing something off. You need to relook at how you're doing it, or you need to change your strategy. But here, yes, the review is great. This is amazing. So that's the first thing, is I'm reviewing this amazing success. So once you are out, you receive your progress. The next thing that we teach in Goals to Life, which is the same thing Cody responds to, sit in it. How do you feel? Is to reward, celebrate your progress, right? So I want you all to know, when you're seeing progress in anything you're doing, progress over perfection, celebrate, reward. Now, why don't you talk on what you tell us to do, as we are taking a win each day, or you take a win each week, or you take a win at the end of your timeline on your goal?
Sure, we'll definitely chat about that. I want to preface this before I say this. So people watching, Wendee did not lose this weight by starving herself.
No.
by overworking out. And so it's important people understand this, because what she learned to track was eating on time. I learned to eat enough, right? And understanding what my body actually needs. So when we talk about sitting in the winds, most of our brains, we all have an animal part of our brain. It's in the amygdala and hippocampus. And the animal part of the brain is wired to avoid pain and chase pleasure. I don't care how evolved you think you are, your brain is doing that 24/7. It's called survival. And so one of the things that happens is many people, because they've been dieting incorrectly, they've not managed stress, they've not learned how to feel emotions, they are stuck in survival. So the brain's wired in survival. When you're wired in survival, all you're trying to do is avoid pain. So you can't actually stop and take a win. So this is why it's so important, and it requires this sort of neural network rewiring. So when I have someone just lose a weight, let's say you send to me a half pound, you'll notice I respond and I go, Wendee, you lost a half pound, and people stop when I say it and they go, wait. And I had someone that was listening to all my messages the other day, a family member, and they're like, are you like, do you encourage them like that every single day? And I said, yes. She goes,
Yes,
they asked, how do you do that? I said, because literally people will send me messages and say, Dr. Goldman, I lost a half pound today. I lost a pound. And I'm like, do you just realize what you just did? So we create these unrealistic goals. And here's why. If you don't celebrate the steps you take to get to the floor you're aiming for, you will never be happy when you get to that floor. That's why.
Right. And you want to tell them why they won't be happy when they get to that floor?
Yes, because if you don't actually take your wins along the way, there's no amount. Let's look at just weight loss. There's no amount of weight loss that will ever make you happy. And so one of the things I was sharing with Wendee was because your primitive brain is wired in pain and pleasure, it's wired for good and bad. Okay. And so this is what's very interesting is most of us are used to having dopamine releases as our pleasure. Okay. So sugar, wine, bread, cereal, pasta, these things literally give
cheese
dopamine
and crackers, charcuterie.
Yeah, there's many things that do dopamine. Exercise can do it too. But what happens is if in those little wins you don't take it, what I notice is basically the brain is never wired to actually understand when should I actually be fulfilled. Okay. So fulfillment is in between good and bad. Fulfillment is not good. This is what's really interesting. So what most people are striving for is an unrealistic expectation of things always being good. And fulfillment doesn't have anything to do with that. Matter of fact, you probably see with your partnership, Wendee, in your partnership, a really powerful partnership is not all good.
Are you talking about my marriage?
Yeah. Yes. It's support and challenge equally. We don't fall in love with ourselves until you own and love the good and the bad. Okay. So that's one of the big reasons it's like that. And so one of the things you asked me was the topic of celebration is kind of where we're going with that. How do I celebrate that? So first things first, many people, when they get to this point, like you are, they're like, hey, I'm going to celebrate with a glass of wine. And you mentioned that to me, right?
Or
and
champagne.
Or champagne.
Yes. I want to celebrate with a glass of dry rosé. And I got my hand smacked.
Right. And so here was a good conversation. So remember, there's no right or wrong with any of this stuff. But I just posed some questions to you, Wendee, that we can have, right? So it was like this. That's interesting. So if we've pulled sugar out of your system, we've pulled alcohol out of your system, and are you feeling better? Are you sleeping better? Is your energy better? Is your skin more clear? I see this all the time with people, right?
Yes.
But check. So then would it really be a celebration to put the thing back in that we just took out to make us feel better? And you go, well, that's an interesting question. So I have people who start this who they've been drinking wine since they were 12.
Ooh.
And they baked bread with their grandma who gave them wine. So wine is wired in not just with pleasure, but it is total and complete love. That's what it's wired in. That's what they call it, right? So when they drink a glass of wine, they feel the love from their grandma. How can I compete with that, right?
Aww.
And so
Right,
It's
right.
very interesting, right? Right. And you go, oh, you're going to die early, right? Oh, that's amazing. You're going to die soon. And what's interesting, I'm exaggerating this out for people, but understand we got to rewire that, because if that was wired in as love, right? And this happens with all of us, we wire in dopamine hits as love. And that is where it starts becoming interesting, because you go, well, I'm going to go celebrate and relax, right? So if we can link and create our own natural dopamine from actually sitting in our own emotions, you have control over things. Again, this conversation isn't about making wine bad, right? I think I've drank more than most people that come from New Orleans, but it's actually sitting in the things that we feel. So here's a good example, Wendee. You're going, wow, I feel really amazing. Have you actually stopped and sit, like literally, you're busy. You do all kinds of stuff, Wendee. Have you literally stopped, I'm seriously, and gone to sit in love and appreciation for what you have done?
Yes,
Have
I
you
did
done
last night. I sat in the jacuzzi and closed my eyes and relaxed
it?
and rested and sat in it. I did.
Okay, good.
Believe it or not, as fast as I move,
Good.
I did sit in it. And I am really proud because I didn't think it was possible. Me coming to you, well, I have all the cards stacked against me. I can't do it. I don't know. What if I'm the one that can't transform? And sure enough, I know the consistency. I mean,
Amazing.
accountability is a huge thing. I love showing up and having you there and having any form of accountability like that daily. Is real, where someone deeply cares on the other end.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
I love the why. And so back to though, and I'll talk about like celebrating to me is through experiences, celebrating with people. And I just had this conversation the other day on a podcast I was doing, and we were talking about like celebration to me would be like with people, and like how do you create these experiences? Everything to me is about an experience, and experiences like food, like how I relate is food, entertainment, concerts, a good bottle of wine, all the fun things that you think, right? As I've been on this journey, shifting to kind of like, okay, yes, self-care, like celebrate through massage. I was at coffee this morning with my husband and a business partner of ours, and we were talking about the celebration. He's like, well, what about a new bag? I'm like, nope, no new bag for me. I'm financially trying to be well right now. So no new bag for me, but maybe a massage will be a good reward for me.
I
And
like
so,
that's by the way, that's another dopamine hit when you buy something expensive or buy something nice, dopamine in the brain. That's 100%.
well, I think I'm a dopamine junkie. So I think this is really training
We
some
all are.
self-control. Yeah.
The animal brain, we can't get away from, no matter how intelligent we are, we have an animal inside us that
Oh,
is
great.
avoiding and chasing pleasure. Now, I will tell you, let me just drop one big secret here, Wendee. Okay.
It's
The
a big secret.
more,
I love it. Tell
this
me.
is a big secret. This is huge. Your doctor will never tell you this because they don't know it. The more you avoid negative emotions, when I say negative emotions, I mean that little thing, that little voice in the back of your head that goes, you can't do this. And when I say avoid it, I'm saying you just stay busy and not listen. I'm not saying you are, Wendee, but all of us do this. The
Yeah.
more you avoid feeling sad, the more you've repressed fear, the more you've repressed whatever self-criticism you have, the more you repress emotions, even if it's for someone else, the more you will seek dopamine hits in your brain. If you don't have a reason, so if you face the things and feel the things, you don't have a reason to go and find dopamine. That's what's really wild. So myself, I found myself so often, and I saw this through patients, was I would go get dopamine hits. I mean, expensive wines, all kinds of sugary foods. I mean, I did this for years. All kinds of experiences, right? That were highs. Every high is accompanied by a low. But do you know what's not accompanied by a low? Fulfillment. And fulfillment doesn't come from dopamine hits. So you have the choice of pleasurable experiences or pleasurable results.
Okay, I have a couple, two things I hope I don't forget. Okay, so remind me. Okay, one thing on fulfillment. He said this earlier, you guys. I hope you heard that. Like maybe 5 minutes ago. Now he's saying it again. And now I want you to know, like for us at Goals to Life, we help people trade their fatigue, their burnout for fulfillment, right?
There
And
you
they're
go.
overwhelmed for outcome by bringing their goals to life. Now, that is what we do. Now, with that, let me tell you, that's my story, the burnout, how I was. Yes, pedal to the metal, the whole everything, and then living a life out of alignment and not being fulfilled. Now, I will tell you, doing a tech startup, building a business, starting in a whole new industry, like nothing what I was doing for 27 years, and taking this on and say, all right, I'm being called, this is my purpose, but guess what? I'm in fulfillment. Now, are there good days and bad days? Absolutely. But you know what? I wake up every day fulfilled. And when you say that, that just like hit right here to me, because I will tell you that being fulfilled in my day to day, when I get up every day, I don't care if it's a bad day or a good day, I am still fulfilled because I'm living in alignment. And I am definitely know that I'm on the right path. Like I have a vision. I'm on the right path. I want to leave legacy. I want to impact lives. I don't care if there's a good day or a bad day. It doesn't matter. It's that fulfillment. And I'm living in fulfillment. And so right now, you're going to give me that example. And now I'm going to totally know what to relate it to. So thank you, because now that is super personal to me when we take these messages. Now, one other thing that Cody had mentioned to me earlier was, okay, if you're saying, oh my gosh, I've had a long day, I just want to relax, I'm going to get a glass of wine. Okay, say what that does to your brain. Tell them what you told me.
So
Not saying on the wine, but hey,
you're okay. So many of us have linked together when I go have a glass of wine, beer, whatever it is, that I'm going to be connected. I'm going to relax with the people I'm with. Okay. And so I want to just say this anatomically, physiologically, biologically, alcohol does not relax you. So every biomarker, if you were to wear monitors and you start drinking, your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, your liver enzymes increase, which is all signs of stress. So literally, if your goal was to go relax, alcohol does the opposite. It actually stresses our system. But what it does do is numb your brain into thinking you're relaxed. Right. And then people go, yeah, but I feel connected to my friends. No, you don't. Think about the next day. Most of the time when people drink a good bit of wine, they can't even effing remember the conversation.
Oh, great.
What kind of connection did you make when you can't remember the conversation, right? I'm exaggerating this because I've done this a bunch. This is no judgment, right? This is just understanding our human parts, right? Yeah, I've done it a bunch. So it's just cool to have the understanding, right? And
it's a real deal.
It really is. Yeah. So it's wild because I have noticed, and this is the experiment. I'm telling you what I had heard from my patients. Okay. This is so cool. The lady that I had told you about just now, who learned about love with wine and her grandma.
Yeah.
Okay? When she had her first glass of wine after day 40, she did what you did. She said, I'm going to celebrate because that's love. She had the wine. She was sick for 2 days straight. And here was exactly what she said. She said, Dr. Goldman, and she literally said this. She said, the fast food has screwed me up. I'm now a lightweight. And I said, no, you're not toxic and poisonous anymore. And your body can't take that anymore. So when you have a buildup of acidity and toxicity, you can dump your body full of stuff. You don't even notice it, right? And so she had to literally learn, well, how do I get love without alcohol? This is an extreme case, right?
No, but
It's true. It's true. And so
how do you create experiences? It's maybe not even love. Like, how do you create these moments? It's a lot. And it's even without the dessert. Like, let's take it off alcohol, right? But yes, thank you for sharing that. Anyone that had watched my story, okay, a dear friend of mine came over, knows I love bundt cakes, bought me a whole tray of bundt cakes, didn't know I was on the fast 40. And I was like, oh. And so Tony and Alyssa got to eat and enjoy. And I just said, I'm just going to freeze it till after the fast 40. Well, literally, you guys, I had forgotten about it. So yesterday I was at our office at CLS, and Taylor, who works with me, says, hey, Wendee, now that you finished the fast 40, did you pull out those bundt cakes? And I said, what? she's like, remember those bunk cakes that you were saving till the fast 40 was over? And I said, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about those.
Mhm.
And she's like, so are you going to pull them out? She's like, are you going to video when you get to pull them out and eat them? And I said, okay, I'll share it with you. And then I started thinking about, do I really need those? Do I want those? I mean, yeah, they taste good, but I'm really sitting and enjoying how amazing the fruit tastes. So
Yeah,
I don't know
absolutely.
with that
Absolutely.
sugar rush if it's necessary, but I do love it. But do
Yeah.
we love do we love what did you say, the result?
So the question is, do you want pleasurable experiences or pleasurable results? I want people to really just sit in that question for a moment. Pleasurable experiences or pleasurable results? This is what we're
Yeah, how
talking
can
about.
you have both?
So when you feel into this, if you are allow yourself, number one, let's go back to the conversation when we're like going out with people. Okay. Here's what I watch people do. When we have this conversation, I've had this same conversation 100 times with patients, and they go, wait a minute, well, what am I supposed to do if I go out to eat? And they go, you get to actually be connected with your friends and family. And they're like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Watch what happens when you don't inebriate yourself, you don't numb your mind. Watch what happens. And every single person tells me this. Oh my, first of all, Dr. Goldman, I felt so good coming home. Most of the time I drink wine, I don't feel that good. For every half glass of wine or alcohol you drink, you lose 2 hours of sleep. Sleep is your number one anti-aging hack. That's worth it. But let's say you don't care about sleep. Let's say you don't care about aging fast. Okay, say you don't care about it. The people you're with, what you start noticing is you have a deeper connection. You remember the conversations. You truly remember the conversations with people. So that's every single person I've gone through. And the lady I'm speaking of, when she got sick and we had this conversation, she goes, okay, I'm going to do something crazy tonight. I'm going to go out with my friends and family and I'm not going to drink. And it was for her a big deal. It was like, this is like, I'm going to be the weirdo and I'm not going to fit in. Look at the conversation that comes up in her mind. And you start realizing, why am I having the alcohol? It's because I link this to pleasure. But wait a minute, it's truly the people that I'm with that give me pleasure. And so I get more pleasure out of spending time with people. I don't need that anymore. I love, and appreciate the people that I'm with. And love and appreciation for me has not come from dopamine. I have 100% drank more than most people watching this. And I can tell you, I never achieved
True
fulfillment
happiness. Yeah.
through sugar and alcohol and dopamine hits.
Well, and those
So
dopamine hits. Well, and you know, for me, it's what's really important is meaningful conversations. And
yes,
when you had me
yes.
fill out, there was a document that we had to fill out about our
Highest life priorities.
highest life priorities. And for me, meaningful conversations is really important. And also being around people that really love enjoying like a challenge of growth, learning. I love learning. That is exciting to me, is to learn something new, to try something new, to move in a forward direction, and to also have meaningful conversations. So I'm going to be leaning in on that. Self-care is a huge reward, I think, for a lot of us, especially those who run at a high speed, is rewarding ourselves with some really special self-care treatments, whatever that looks like, that won't hurt us, which there's a lot of beautiful self-care treatments that will be rewarding. But yes, I'm not saying that I'm never going to have a glass of wine. I still have beautiful bottle, but this is like really a mind shift for me, guys. Like, so today, there's a lot to reward in. We've been 2 years incorporated at Goals to Life. I haven't been able to celebrate that. And I have not been able to celebrate this Fast 40 to really figure out what that looks like. So Tony and I are going to dinner tonight. What I'm going to end up deciding to have, but this is a life journey. So now, okay, guys, we talked about reviewing, we reviewed, and Cody talked about that, and then sitting in it. And now we talked about like different ways to reward. And maybe what we'll do, if anyone wants to, like in the messages below this live, I would challenge you to put ways that you reward yourself on progress. I'd love to see the response there. I'd love to actually hear all the different ways people envision rewarding themselves. And then I will share back. I'll commit. If you share, I will share back what I've challenged myself to think outside what my past has felt reward looks like to what I want reward to look like here for me now and in the future. So maybe Cody, you and I could kind of talk about that and share that maybe in some of the comments or come back and do another life, which we will continue doing because it's a journey. It's not like a destination. This is a journey of what, living this way. So now we're about sustaining. So in the Goals to Life process, we create a plan. Now, Cody created a plan. I put it inside Goals to Life. Then we execute, we implement, we act. That is the next step. So you have to do what he tells you to do. And anything, you can't just create a plan and not do it, or you're not going to get the results. So obviously I had to be really determined and committed and consistent to get the results. It doesn't just come without me making those efforts. So that is part in Goals to Life. You execute. That is why Goals to Life exists. The next, through that, you need to track and measure, and then and be accountable. But then the third thing is then you will achieve. So if you do those things, you make time to do the things that Cody tells you, or you make time to work on your goals, you track and measure, and you are accountable to a person in your life, you will increase your chances to achieve. And that is what I did with Cody and the Fast 40. So now that I feel like achieved, I feel successful, now I have to sustain. So create, execute, achieve, sustain. So I am going to celebrate, and I'm going to make my comments, and you're going to still challenge me on the rewarding.
Let's give you just a few ways this is for people listening, for you too. How do we release dopamine? Now I'm just going to mention this to you because number one, go out and use your new body. Dancing releases so much freaking dopamine. Go dancing. Go have fun with this. Go use your new body. Some people, even you want to see a massive dopamine release, cold plunging, right? Sunlight. Go walk on the beach. This releases dopamine, right? Gratitude. Like some people, I got to do something. Literally dropping into gratitude. This releases dopamine pathways in your brain, right? Even just setting a goal like you've done, Wendee, and reaching your goal is the dopamine. So isn't it funny to go, I need to go celebrate? And like, what if we sit in the dopamine of actually reaching your goal, right? That's right.
Of achievement.
There's dopamine rich foods, connection and touch. This is what I think that we associate in dinner when I think what we think is wine is doing. Hugging someone, laughing with a friend, and eye contact releases oxytocin in the brain. And I think that's what we think alcohol is doing, when in fact it's you and your friends connecting. And then one other one is music, which you can combine with dance.
That I'm a music junkie, a concert junkie. Yes, live music makes me super happy.
Yeah. Yes. So now maintenance, right?
Yeah. So maintenance, guys. Okay. So this is like, oh gosh, I'm still stuck. Okay. So we build all the pathways of Cody's program on the resetting and the reducing inside Goals to Life. And I'm like, okay, we need to create the pathways for maintenance. How am I going to maintain and sustain this feeling I have? It's not even just a way to just continuing on a path to longevity, right? Mm-hmm. And what does that look like? And so, Cody, I would like you to kind of talk to other people to tell them what you told me. And you guys, I'm still wrapping my head around this. This is not easy. I'm going to be quite honest with you, because I thought, okay, once I'm at the 40s, I can do this, but do I want to? And then Cody always has you thinking. It's like, oh, great. Okay. So Cody, why don't you, I think thinking is important. You do need to think before you just start putting things in your mouth.
Well,
doing things.
It's true. And it's truly because I care about people. And, and you, just so you understand this, Wendee, the reason that I'm so certain, and I also challenge people with things, is because when you almost die, you don't back down from helping someone else not almost die also. And the things that I was doing before were killing me. And so that's why I was in bed for 6 months. By 2019, I didn't walk for 6 months, right? So when I say these things, there was certainty that I already know the path towards a slow death and the path towards a fulfilled life. And so one of the first pieces is we have phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1, Wendee, the hard part is over. Just so you know, the thing that people spend an entire lifetime trying to figure out, how can I get the weight off? You did in 40 days. So can we just go, holy shit, I just did that 40 days. Yeah. The hard part's over. So now. Yeah,
but it's not just the weight though. Like you keep reminding me, I reset my hormones, which is very important at age 50. In your 50s. I'm not exactly 50, but young enough, close to 50. And then also resetting your metabolism, which I've had a fast metabolism my whole life. And then all of a sudden I didn't, because why? I was a sugar burner, not a fat burner.
Exactly. Exactly. I think it's important. So your question of what do I do now is
Yes.
the first step one is, what did I learn in the 40 days that I need to do after? And I would say a few ones you probably learned is called chrononutrition. No one's talking about it. Chrononutrition is the art form of understanding how your nervous system connects with circadian rhythms. When you eat on time and eat enough, and this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people doing. My mom just went through this program. She's down 50 pounds. And what she started doing, she used to eat. I'm just telling you this because you and I talked about this. My mom was a salad eater. That's all she ate. And she got incredibly fat, 60 pounds overweight by starving herself. Now, I'm saying salads starve you, right? But we
No.
want to make sure you get enough proteins and
A
veggies and meats.
hearty salad does not, if you just have
Yeah,
lettuce as like the
yeah,
small
that's good.
component, but you can't just eat
Exactly.
lettuce.
Totally. Exactly.
Salads are just lettuce and dressing and maybe like a few diced tomatoes. I mean, come on, what's that going to do?
So what I see most people doing is violating what they just learned. That's the first mistake. You just learned you need to eat enough and eat on time. That's the first mistake, is these people stop doing that. So don't stop doing the thing that got you here. And it's funny because it's not missing meals. I want you to literally eat on time, right? Step two is you need to test foods, because where you are, Wendee, is you've had lean meats, vegetables, and fruits without oils. So now what you've learned in phase one is how to lose fat. You've got that down. But now, how do I eat? That's a whole nother step, right? So we had to do something called the testing phase.
Yeah.
And the testing phase, I am Mr. Simple. I keep things as simple as I can for people, because complexity is the enemy of longevity. If it is too complex, it's not sustainable. Okay. So since you've been weighing your food, Wendee, I very methodically do not teach people how to count calories. You've weighed your food so you can visually see how much lean meat, vegetable, and fruit you need. That's that's huge, right? So now we go through the testing phase. We test our complex carbohydrates first. And there's a very important thing, Wendee. You talked to me about, I want to get back and be active. A lot of people want to start working out again. You have to put complex carbs in if you're going to work out. You don't want to work out on lean meats, veggies, and fruits. And but you got to know which foods cause you to gain weight. And no dietitian, no nutritionist can tell you that. So you test one food at a time and you watch the scale. And it is so damn easy. Seriously, it takes time. You eat something, right? So what you do is, when you take your vegetable, if you've been used to eating 6 ounces of green beans, for example, do 3 ounces of green beans and 3 ounces of sweet potato on one meal and watch what happens. You're going to go, hey, I feel great. I did good. And do it in the same day that you're working out, because you're adding more calories, right? So you want to do it the same way you work out. Go through and test complex carbs. You'll find that most complex carbs do really well, right? When you get into your simple carbs, that's where you're going to see very easily what happens is, so not sweet potato, but white potatoes, most of white rice, even jasmine rice, even sushi rice, tortillas, the list goes on, sugars, and that's where alcohols come in. They cause blood sugar spikes. The more blood sugar spikes you have, the faster you age. The more blood sugar spikes you have, the faster you age. I'm hoping that everyone heard that little tip.
Why don't you just do like a post that says that? Because I think women would love to hear that, right?
I know. People are spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on anti-aging. And if they control the blood sugar spikes and get good sleep, those are the two things that God gave you that are already there and they're free. Anyway, side note. So you reduce your blood sugar spikes, because what happens, the more your blood sugar spikes, the faster you age, and the more fat you lay on. Your body will convert sugar into fat. It's a complex process. So once you test those foods, the reason that's so important, Wendee, is I want people to go live their life. I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to go to London. I'm going to be out somewhere. I know for Dr. Cody Goldman which foods make me fat. But if you don't know that, you are living haphazardly, right? I already know what pasta does to me. I used to love pasta. I already know what it does to me, right?
What about pasta in Italy? Let's see how many days I have.
Pasta in Italy is different, Wendee. Pasta in Italy does not make me gain weight. Pasta in America does. I've tested this, but I've been there 6 times to Italy.
Well, no, because I'm going for a month. Okay, everybody that's watching this, Cody, we're going to go live while I'm in Italy. Can we?
I think we should.
Okay, I think we're going to go live. I'm going to be in Europe for a month. And I'm freaking out, guys. Let's just be real. Like I got massive results, and I'm keep saying, Cody, I need a plan for Europe. I need a plan for Europe. I know I'm going to do a ton of activity. We're going to walk like crazy,
When are
but
you leaving?
I leave April 11th, guys. So we will be checking in with me. Cody is going to check in with me, right, Cody? This is going to be really interesting. How do you travel after you have massive results on Fast 40 and not come back and have a consequence that you're so disappointed in? But you also want to enjoy your trip, because it's not like you're at home. Hey, when you're working at home or you're at home and you can control things, it's very different. When you're in a place where you can't always control what's in front of you, this is it's going to be hard. But I also know the way they prepare their food and the amount of activity is going to be different than here in the United States.
Yeah, and that's what you said is important here, Wendee. So I'd say number one is, have you tested your foods? And you're not going to have enough time to test all your foods. So if you can use it as a testing phase, great. But the second thing you said is important. Your activity level is increased. That only matters because you are a fat burner now. Your activity level didn't do a lot because as a sugar burner, you're not burning fat. So this is an important piece. The one thing you could do, let's say it's easier for you to tell me what you could do to screw this up, because it's very minimal. Load your body full of simple carbohydrates and sugars and alcohols, and you will screw up your hormones. Now, I don't mean, when I say load your body, dump it inside there. Here and there is not going to cause a problem. Not going to cause a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. That's okay. I just kind of needed to hear that, but I didn't know if there was something coming after that. I'm like, and anything else? Okay. Very simple. Okay. Very simple. So, all right, you guys. So I think that's going to be fun. Okay. So let's just recap. We reviewed on the progress. I want everybody to look back on whatever goal they're at, review progress, right? And then after you review the progress, and I would say here, we reviewed it at the end of the 40 days. We did have a SMART goal, which was time-based. This was time-based on 40 days. When you set your time base, you want to see, did you achieve, did you not? Do you want to keep it going? Do you want to adjust? But and then with Cody, we review daily, and we review, sit in the win or the loss, try to understand what we did, so why we could learn. He wants us learning. I want you learning as you're setting your goals. What am I doing right? Am I actually doing the work? Am I not? Do I need help? So reviewing is critical. Then you need to readjust the plan if something's off, or learn. Like Cody says, what can you learn from your win or your loss, so you can actually learn to live this life that you want with the results you want to get. Okay, now we've done the review. Now we reward on the progress, because again, it's progress over perfection. Even if you said it's a half a pound, let's reward on that. Let's sit in it. Let's celebrate it, even small wins. And totally. Cody reminded us why, right? And different ways. So now this is a big win at the end. I'm definitely pleased with my results. I feel success. So if you feel success, it's like, oh my gosh. Well, it's not like, let's go crazy. After, like, let's really sit in, like, what is the reward we want that we deserve to have, that's going to actually bring forth positivity in our lives. And then sustaining and, learning how to move forward and keep that momentum to maintain and continue to grow in this new life that you've created, whether it be in your relationships, your finances. How do you sustain it without taking steps back and having so many setbacks that it just all is for nothing? So I know it's not for nothing for me. I didn't put myself through this for nothing. So again, sustain, maintain is huge for Goals to Life. It's huge for Cody. And we are going to be doing my maintenance program, talking about that in Europe. But yes, it will be perfectly fine, right?
I want to mention something, Wendee, that I think that will be really helpful for your Goals to Lifers and
our goal getters.
Yep. So here's the interesting piece of this. Have you heard of the licensing effect?
No, bring it on.
Here's the licensing effect. When you do something good, and then you subconsciously give yourself permission to do something bad because you think you earned it. This is literally a psychological principle, which is what you even asked me before. This is called the licensing effect. Okay. So for example, I worked out today, so I deserve this whole pizza. I meditated this morning, so it's fine for me to scroll my phone 3 hours tonight. I took my vitamins so I can drink more alcohol tonight. Are you following me?
But that's so many humans, including myself from time to time.
This
Just
is
time
a
to time.
psychological principle. It's a psychological principle. It's the mind. It's the brain is wired for the lysine effect, right?
We're
So it's
crazy. These humans have we're all crazy. What?
and
People do
yes,
that, huh?
yep, this is actually a trick of the mind. So your brain rewards you for positive action, but then it flips into a false reward mode, as if the good action buys you a pass to self-sabotage. That's literally what it's doing.
That's called the
So
licensing.
the licensing effect. So this is very well documented, but your dopamine system gets hijacked and you celebrate, but you celebrate in the wrong direction. So when I figured this out, it was like, whoa, I found this in psychology books. It was like, this is really, really wild.
I
And
cannot.
some,
I learn something new every day. I absolutely love these
so,
kinds of
right.
conversations.
Yeah, no, they are fun, right? So, because I love how the mind works. And so it's important that people understand the way your brain is wired. And the reason I talk so much about pain and pleasure, your brain is wired in polarities. And here's the best way for me to say this, Wendee. Your brain has to find good and bad. It is very, very, very hard for your brain to sit in neutrality, in equilibrium, and in love. Our brains are not wired for love. Our brains are wired to find good and bad. Now, even as I'm saying this, someone's brain goes, wait, what? Wait, so good and bad don't exist? Like, this is what our brain does, right? So to flip this in your favor, the licensing effect, you celebrate without compromise, right? And so, like, how do you even do this? That's why I mentioned those things I mentioned to you, right? Will allow you to celebrate without compromise. But when I first heard that, it helped me go, wow, this is why so many people reach a goal and then they lose it. Because this is another piece I want to say to you about alcohol and sugar, and this is really important.
My bundt cakes and my rosé wine that.
Yeah. And by the way, I had the exact same experience when I did the Fast 40 a few years back on my own. Someone gave me a fresh, warm chocolate chip cookie from this incredible.
Oh yes,
store.
we talked. Yes, you're the one that gave me the dang idea. You're the one. Thank you. You said put it in the freezer.
Just so you know, can I tell you what I ended up doing with that cookie? It was in there around day 40, and I had the same thought. I was like, I opened it one day and I forgot it was even there, and I go, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm freezing this. Am I freezing this so I can eat it later? I decided to throw it away. And let me tell you what happened when I threw it away. My brain said, there's kids that are starving in Africa and you throw a cookie away. That's what my brain told me. That's literally what my brain told me. And I said, oh my God, you're going to make this about other people starving, right? So you're wasteful for throwing the sugar away. Well, guess what? I am fine being wasteful and healthy. I'm incredibly wasteful and I am healthy because I'm going to be on this planet helping people, right? So just understand that polarity is very important. If you make something bad, if you make sugar bad, if you make alcohol bad, if you literally say it's bad, if you're certain it's bad, your brain will do one thing only, okay? It will actually find a yes part. For every no part you have, it'll create a yes part. So if you say never, no alcohol, no sugar, your brain will do whatever it can to find yes alcohol, yes sugar. This is how it's wired.
So you want to sit there and then in turn, instead of thinking about what you can't have, you think about what you can have.
So you want to make sure that you don't polarize something. Whatever you polarize, your brain will swing to the opposite. So we don't need to demonize sugar. And you go, okay, alcohol, what's the benefits of it? There's benefits of alcohol and drawbacks. But remember, does alcohol give me a pleasurable experience or a pleasurable result? And I found, and you'll see this in many, many principles, pleasurable experiences typically don't come, or pleasurable results typically don't come from pleasurable experiences. You look at a fantastic relationship, it didn't come from them going through easy stuff. They went through some hard stuff together to get to that true fulfillment.
No doubt. Yeah. True. That's good. All right. Well, oh my gosh. I literally want to take, there's so many great nuggets from this live, by the way. And anyone that's watching it, we need to like clip this like crazy, put it on social, but we need to like literally take some of these nuggets of information that you just gave, and we need to just have one thing on it, one teaching, and just push it through to bring awareness. I love it. I hope everybody, if you weren't on with us today, it's fine. You guys enjoy this live. It's going to be posted on our YouTube and on our Facebook. And There's so much great to learn. If you are trying to get a hold of Dr. Cody, in the description, there's a way that you can gain a free ebook or webinar. Learn more about the Fast 40, learn more about Dr. Cody. And if you want to join Goals to Life to build your plan, build your life, get results and execute, there's a link there to join. And we are so excited to have you join our communities to living a life of longevity and fulfillment. Right?
Very nice. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Do you have
And
anything
when
to say as we say goodbye?
I will have my team take some of these incredible conversations we had and put them into little clips, and it'll be fun to do. So I do want to say, but prior to this, I taught business owners how to expand their business, and I created an entire system of life planning, and I didn't have the technology that Wendee has created. And so I think you guys here are talking about goals for life. And
Goals to life. You say it.
Oh, sorry, goals to life. Yeah. So
Bringing them to life.
because they are goals for my life, right? But they bring
Yeah,
goals
they are.
to
I
life.
know it could go either way. Really, it could.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. But I want to say, because there's many planning systems and all kinds of stuff you could use. She's actually created an actual process of taking a goal and bringing it to fruition. And I know how much that takes. And so there really is not a system out there. I've looked. There's not a system out there that does this. And so really for go-getters, Goals to Life is a really important technology to have.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you know what, when you said go-getters are go-getters, so we always say, like, you know, you could set a goal, and any of those people that are older enough to remember the set it and forget it Ronco rotisserie.
Oh yeah,
we always say set it and forget it. Well, we don't want you setting your goals and forgetting it. We want you to be goal-getters, and that's through action. And we're all about action, and that's what. There's so much alignment with what Cody does and what we do here, and that's why Cody and I keep showing up together, because we have definitely a calling to impact lives in the same way, with the same kind of messaging, just different experts. I'm teaching you how to go get your goals, and he's teaching you how to go live a life of longevity. So there you go. So anyways, but thank you, Cody, for everything. And you guys, you'll continue to see us on this journey. I hope that you guys can start to reach out, learn more about Dr. Cody Goldman, and learn more about Goals to Life so we can help you. So thanks again, Cody, as always.
Thanks for being on.
A lot to reward on.
To life.
Goals? Yeah, Goals to Life. G2L, baby. So, all right. We'll see y'all later. All right, Cody, hold on.